This week on the Facility Playbook, I sat down with Greg and Mitch again from KC Crew, and they really helped me dive deep into how to run the best pickup program there is. You want to figure out how to bring people back every single week for an open play pickup or drop-in? Check out this week on the Facility Playbook. Do you own or manage a facility? Well, you are in the right place. Welcome to the Facility Playbook. I'm Luke Wade, founder and CEO of Facility Ally, and this podcast is about helping facility managers and owners learn from pioneers and veterans in the industry who have built and managed successful sports facilities, entertainment venues, and clubs. Did you know that most of the facilities I just mentioned use between 4 and 6 different softwares to manage their reservations, lessons, memberships, leagues, camps, clinics, and more? Revolutionize your facility with Facility Ally's all-in-one system. Learn more at facilityally.com. And today we're in an amazing facility, but we're talking to an amazing club, KC Crew. I'm back with Greg and Mitch. Thanks again, guys, for joining. As usual, you didn't have a choice, but I really appreciate it. And today we're talking about something really cool. We're talking about pickup, which in my opinion is a great way to essentially fill open gaps and help facilities fill open time. But before we get into that, to somebody who has not seen one of our previous episodes, give me an introduction. Tell me a little about what you do for KC Crew.
Yeah, so I'm the general manager. I oversee all day-to-day operations here. So leagues, events, sales, sponsorships, marketing, anything you can think of, that all runs through me. I grew up in Omaha, moved to KC in 2012, same year the KC Crew started. I was going to school at Rockhurst. I started 2 years in. I started working part-time, so running softball, running sand volleyball, helping with events. When I graduated, I moved full-time here for 2 years, and then I followed Mitch, who I'll let you talk about him in a second. He went to Enterprise. I followed him there. I came back. I got him to come back, thank God. And yeah, now we're off and running, looking at best year we've ever had. So
awesome. Yep, and I'm our league director, so I run all of our leagues. So Greg oversees everything, but I mainly focus on leagues and help where I can in other ways. But all those softball, kickball, sand volleyball, cornhole, karaoke, all leagues we do, I oversee all those with staffing, scheduling, customer service, just basically everything that involves in running a league. I started with KC Crew, I think 2 years after Greg, part-time when we were at Rockhurst University. He kind of brought me in to umpire some softball. And then after I graduated, when I worked at Enterprise Rent-A-Car, and then Greg brought me back 3 years later to be his league director. And we're off the races after that.
Yep. Yeah, you guys are rock stars. Really happy to have you here. And yeah, so leagues is kind of the core of our business. KC Crew started running leagues for adults, so that's typically who we cater to, and then slowly added events, pub crawls, corporate events, and sponsorship along the way. But leagues is definitely the big piece of it. One of the things that we added additionally to leagues to try and create more revenue was pickup. And so that's essentially what we're talking today. So why do you guys think that pickup is needed so outside of leagues? And actually, first question, do you think if we were starting over today, would you start with leagues or pickup? What's more important? I threw a wrench in there. They had no idea I was going to ask this. So
personally, I think leagues is still the number one thing to start with, but pickup is, there's so many benefits of starting it at the same time. There's just, you get the people out there who, can't really commit to a league up front. They have a chance to come out on a one-off basis, play the game, meet some people, see how it's run. Because ideally, if the people organizing the pickup are doing it well, they do that well, they say, oh, these guys are also doing leagues. I'm sure they organize the leagues well. So it's a nice way to get people in the door, get exposure, get different people in. So
I'd say same thing. Running them concurrent, I think, is the best. You get people that want to play, are committed to playing every week, but then the people that just want to dip their toes in and try it once or twice. Or maybe it's a brand new sport. So like for pickleball instance, some places have never tried it. So some people are afraid to go sign up for a 7-week league, maybe offering a pickup that's every week or every other week. People can try it and they start loving it. And then when they start asking about leagues, that's when you can start building the league. So I think it depends on the sport. If it's a sport that everybody knows how to play and wants to play, offering at the same time, something new, try and pick up first to gauge interest without having to do that commitment of every week.
I think that's a great point, and I never really thought about it either until I just asked the question of what I would start with. I think I've always told people, like, before you start a league, start with a tournament. One-day tournament is a great way, low barrier to entry. They commit for a day, whereas a league, they typically have to commit for 6 to 8 to 9 weeks at a time. So I think that's a good idea to start with, possibly with pickup first, show them we know what we're doing, give them the opportunity to not barely commit, and then segue into a league. I like that idea. But it also could benefit to run them at the same time too. So I think that's a good idea. So why, what do you think the need is, from a pickup side of things, from a facility basis? Obviously, we don't own a facility, but we're in a very big one where we do a lot of programming. What do you think the pickup does for that facility?
I mean, like you touched on at the beginning, it fills gaps. Like it's not, for a league, you're looking at a 4 to 5 hour time slot, depending on how long your leagues are. So that's a big commitment for a facility to give up. But if you have a gap, whether it's at Hy-Vee Arena, we do a basketball pickup at 6:30 in the morning. So you have your early risers, you have your people who are up before 5 o'clock who want to get their activity in. If you have stuff in the morning, that's a good time to offer pickup. You can offer it throughout the day, people on lunch breaks. So pickup is a lot more flexible and fits into a lot more gaps than a league or a tournament would. So
sweet. So what are the different ways that you've seen or that we've tried to organize pickup?
So I think time frame is a big one, different times of the day. So morning or early risers is a place called Soccer Lot where we all started playing pickup at lunchtime. So if you're in a business district where if you have showers in your facility, locker rooms, you can offer a pickup for people to come get their workout in at lunchtime. But then every pickup is run differently, whether people just drop in, show up, and they just kind of play on whatever field's available, or if it's organized. So one way we do it is king of the court type or king of the...
Get into that debate right here, right now.
Starting off.
That's probably the best way we've seen. So we've seen some facilities, or I've played in some where you kind of show up for the 2 hours and you just play whoever wants to play, and there's no really organization, who's going off the court, who's coming on the court. Whereas king of the court, it's if you win, you move up, if you lose, you move down. So you're always playing, and it helps facilitate skill level. So,
yeah, I think the organization is the biggest piece of it. So if you come in, and this goes for all the events we do, whether it's large events, small events, if people know what to expect coming in and they're communicated with, and the moment they get there, it's, hey, here's how it's going to run, they feel comfortable. They know what's going on. They know what to expect, as opposed to, like Mitch said, you show up, you have to, if there's no structure, how do you get onto the court? How do you get in the game if you're off while they're playing? Do you have to squeeze your way in? Are you going to cause issues? Like, having that organization is crucial to putting on, a pickup that people want to come back to, because we've seen pickleball, they also have a paddle stacking. So it's completely random. There's no distribution of skill level one way or the other. You could play the same teams 3, 4, 5 times in a row. I know that's happened to you a couple times before, happened to me as well. And, that it just isn't as efficient. It's not as good of an experience. And king of the court, in my opinion, is the king of the pickup styles.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And I think that's the biggest mistake that facilities make when they do open play, is they think we'll just offer open play and it takes care of itself and everybody's going to pay us money and just go play on their own. But it offers a horrible experience when, like you said, you're not communicated. There's nobody running it. There's nobody structuring it. Somebody ends up taking control, and most of the time it's not the person you want to take control running the pickup. So if that's the case, you might as well put somebody in charge of it to make it the best experience possible. To your point, yeah, I've done paddle stacking. I've gone and played in paddle stacking, and I've played against the team that you don't want to play against. Beat me. I played against the team that I beat very badly, and it's just not a great experience. The other thing, to your point of like even the soccer experience that we had, you'd show up and there'd be somebody. It was supposed to be pick a jersey as you got there, so it randomizes teams. Well, then you got somebody who showed up early and picked all the yellow jerseys so that when their team got there, they'd be on the same team. Well, that's team stacking, and next thing you know, that team's killing everybody, and it's not a good experience for anyone. And so some facilities just let that happen. Well, then it ends up killing your pickup and your open play. The people who like it the most, that are going to keep coming back, aren't going to tell you. They're just going to stop coming. So anyway, my opinion is the way you run it is manage it, whether it's the king of the court style, which I truly believe is the best as well. Check out, we have a video on that explaining king of the court versus paddle stacking. But I think the bottom line is you've got to manage it, and otherwise the experience is not going to be great and people aren't going to keep coming back. So yeah, thoughts?
Something I thought is, well, maybe someone would say, well, I have to hire someone to run it. Well, if you're at a facility and you're open already for open play, there should be someone there running the facility. So why can't they run open play at the same time of checking people in? They check people in and go check on open play every 20 minutes and things like that, and make sure it's moving. So you can kind of get away with that of, hey, you're somewhere already there, have them run open play and get that structure. So
yep. I agree. And I think that another thing, we've actually done this with golf and basketball. So we have golf pickup as well. That was weekly, every Wednesday at 8 a.m. Fun, 9 holes worth of networking. 9 hours, that'd be a long Wednesday. 9 hole worth of networking golf. But sometimes we can't make it, and so we found a champion that shows up every week that we like, knows us, that we trust, and we've kind of educated them on how we want it ran. And now we've got somebody that person they're going to be there anyway. They now don't have to pay for it, and they're essentially helping run it. And so you don't necessarily have to have a staff member to do it all the time. You could find a champion that loves the pickup and wants to run it, that basically saves you a little bit of money in staffing as well. So yeah, I like that idea.
That's finding the right person versus the wrong person that's just going to take it over if it's not monitored. Is finding the person that loves it's already playing and using them to your advantage.
Agree. Yeah, it's going to take a couple weeks, maybe a month or so to find out who that person is. So you're going to have to run it in the beginning. But yeah, once you identify it, it definitely makes it a little bit easier. So open play, cost, thoughts on pricing. We've all played, we've all paid, we've all, run our own. So what do we think on pricing and how we kind of structure that and price it out?
I think it depends on depends on what the court rental cost is. What's the cost to get the pickup up and running? If it's your own facility, obviously you own the courts, so you're in a pretty good shape. But I think between $5 to $15, depending on the sport, the quality of the equipment, how many people are expecting, that's kind of your range there. So we charge $7 for basketball at Hy-Vee Arena. It's 6:30 in the morning, so people are covering the extra $5 just by waking up at 6 o'clock and making it here on time. But then pickup, we run it at Serve. We charge $15. So that's two examples that, I guess, real life examples that we currently use. But it's, comparing it to leagues. So if you're paying $70 for a league for 7 weeks, it's about $10. Organized play for the staffing, the court rental, the equipment. So you just break it down to essentially one day of leagues is kind of how we ballpark it.
Yeah, it makes sense. And typically they're getting, like, basketball's an hour, right? Yeah. So you get an hour for $7. And I know one of the things we've been able to work out, like, if you own your own facility, like Greg said, you're already ahead of the game. We don't, so we have to work out rental rates and discounts. And, we're at a place that has a lot of courts. So we've actually worked out a deal where if we have more people show up, we don't have to pay for the courts until afterwards. So we're able to actually grow and say, all right, we need another court. Let's add that court, and then we're billed later. So that's a really big benefit for us. But if you own the court, you don't have to worry about the court costs. So that's a good thing. But the other way, we kind of look at things, we try and do a 30 to 40% profit margin. So if you do have a cost, like we have a cost per person for golf, we try and mark that up accordingly. Again, trying to build in your costs of whether you're advertising it or having to pay a staff to be there, I think are all important things. But I think, thoughts on, like, is it expandable? Would you charge $7 if it was 14 if it was 2 hours? Do you just keep going $7 the longer that it goes? Just curious what you think about that.
I think that's getting feedback from your players. Maybe talking to them. Hey guys, if we were to do 2 hours, would you pay double for it? Or maybe it's only 1.5. So I think it's getting feedback and listening to your players. We talked a lot of feedback about our leagues, and getting feedback on pickup is no different. If people are going to tell you what they want and what they don't want. So
sure. So I know we try and keep things really social and fun and more around networking, because we know that nobody's going pro sports off of pickup. But what are some of the things we do to make it social and more around networking?
It's a small thing, but from the moment people get there, it's whoever's running the show is engaging with the person, as opposed to just them walking up, kind of wandering around, having to, just kind of figure out their way. It's the communication beforehand. If I'm running pickup on Friday morning, I'm welcoming every single person, asking them how their day's going, even though it's 6:15 in the morning, making sure they get their jersey, making sure they know what's going on. So I think it's the champion or the person running the show is the one facilitating it, is the one providing that energy to start off that pickup session. So, and then again, I think between that and the structure of the organization that we talked about, that kind of proper structure and organization will provide for, a great experience. So
I would say it's small, but having everybody introduce themselves, give them their names, maybe have a fun, if it's early in the morning, a fun question like, I don't know, who's your favorite basketball player or favorite team? Get people active and involved. But once you know everybody's name, they start calling each other by name out there, especially if it's week after week, they make friends. But if you're out there and no one knows anybody's name, then it's, don't know who it is, who cares if I beat them or not. But if you know the name, maybe they go out after, get coffee, and then it builds that social aspect. So,
and
sure.
On that note too, so how we do basketball is, it's, again, on the king of the court style, but if you're on a team of 5, you win, you move up a court, you're not going to be playing with those same 5 people. So you're playing with a different crop of people every time. So socialization is built into the structure of the event. So we don't have to try to make it social. It's it's social by its own nature. So,
yeah, which is another reason we love King of the Court style. It automatically builds in. You're playing with a new team. It eliminates the group that shows up as a team of 5, grabs the jerseys, and like, we're going to kill everybody out here. It takes that away, and that's just the only person having fun is that team, and so that ruins it for everybody else.
And those are the kinds of people you don't want out there, because those are the people that start fights, that aren't there to have fun, that aren't there to be social. I've seen it happen time and time again. Like, I almost had to kick someone out of basketball for that very reason. He was throwing elbows, getting into it. I'm like, dude, it's 6:45 in the morning. You didn't wake up to start a fight. Like, come on.
Yep. And that's, again, another reason to have somebody staff it, right? If you're not there, nobody's probably telling you that. The people that he pissed off, none of those people are probably coming back again. So the fact that you stop it makes everybody else feel comfortable and like, hey, they got this under control, and it makes them more comfortable to come back again. Everything you mentioned, 100%. I think one of the other things we do, and it kind of touched on it from the beginning when they walk in, but we have, I don't remember the speech, right? We call it for leagues, we call it the first week speech, but basically every week we're giving a speech of like, welcome to KC Crew. Here's who I am. Here's what pickup is, right? This is how pickup works. This is why we're here. We even say nobody's going pro, right? Like, we say these things to set the standard and the expectation so that if you do throw elbows, we already had the speech, man, where you're not paying attention, like, what are you doing? And so I think all of these things are basically setting expectations, from the marketing of it all the way to when they walk in the door, to the speech, to the managing the execution of it, are really important. And again, I think that's what most facilities miss out on, is they think it's a set it and forget it, and it's 100% not. And as long as you can execute it the right way, it's going to be beneficial for you. But you got to set the expectation to start, for sure. So are there any other ways that we like eliminate kind of that competition, the elbow throwing, any of that other stuff that you guys can think of?
No, I think something that helps us, and I don't know how you get to this point, but we have a core 20 to 25 players who are out there every single time, who know each other, who they are the leaders of that group. So if there's, 5 additional new people who are coming there, if someone's even thinking about, being that person, no one else on the court is being that person. Everyone else is shaking hands, getting to know each other, playing the game to have fun. So it almost polices itself that way of, someone's coming in, like, they don't want to be that guy to, ruin the fun, ruin the experience. So, trying to build a core group of people who you want to, who come back, who kind of believe in, the mission of pickup, where it's, again, they're here to have fun and get some exercise. So.
Sure. And yeah, you never want that guy, but we also have that girl as well. We have a lot of girls that play in these basketball pickups and some of our golf open play as well. So thoughts on how do we manage that? I mean, we let them all play together, right? Guy, girl, doesn't really matter, right? Yep. Because of the social side of it, we don't have to really worry about it. Yeah,
and it's, at the end of the day, like, if there's a guy who is playing basketball and is like, I'm going to go after a girl or someone less skilled than me, and they're just attacking him, making it a negative experience, again, we kick them out. Like, that's not what they're here for. So it doesn't matter who you are, how tall you are, how good you are. You can be on the king court, you can fit right in and have a good time. So, and we've set it up that way. Yeah.
Awesome. So do we still require liability waivers when people sign up for these sort of things?
Every time. Yep. Done through through our sign-up process. So we don't even have to look at it. There's no pen and paper. It's all electronic. By the time they get there, they've already signed up. They've signed the waiver. We're clear.
And so with pickup, it's a little bit different from leagues. Sometimes people show up and haven't signed up or paid. So do we take cash or check, or how do we manage that?
Before I got here, I think we did sometimes, but no cash on our end. It's another extra step, because then they have to scan a QR code, sign the waiver. And, data-wise, as far as, marketing to that person in the future, if we're having to take cash and then get the waiver, then there's an additional thing of, hey, you need to fill this out so we know we have you on file. It cuts out all the steps. So if you can't scan the QR code and get registered that way, we'll need to, most people can at this point. So that's kind of a requirement to be able to play, which we don't feel is out of the, unnecessary to ask. So
long story short, you can have someone scan the QR code and pay with their card right there, or Apple Pay on their phone. Everybody can do that. We're all used to scanning QR codes these days. Make one free online and have a laminated sheet with you.
Yep. And to your point, yeah, I think in the beginning, someone else that was running it, I think facilities, even myself, has fallen victim to the customer's always right. Like if they're here right now and they want to pay me cash, like I should take cash, right? But what that's happening is now they're trained to think they can do that every single time, which is causing more work down the road. And so we, from now it's, hey, you got to fill up and sign out online, whether it's scan the QR code, fill it out, sign the waiver and pay. And then they're like, hey, yeah, next time just do this ahead and you won't have to do it when you're here. So we've now saved, we've got everything we need. It's all accounted for and taken, like they've signed the waiver, they've signed up, we have their marketing information. And then now next time they're going to know like, hey, if you show up to try and pay me, I'm going to do this. So they're just going to sign up in advance next time.
I would say it almost goes down to everything you do. So our leagues, we don't accept cash. Like if someone tries to show up, hey, I'm here to pay and play. No, you have to sign up online, sign the waiver, pay that way. So it's from pickup to our leagues to our events. It's all the same. Dealing with KC Crew, you're going to have the same experience no matter what you do. So.
Yep. And I think, again, there's a lot of people that fall victim to that. And luckily, I've never, 11 years, I never took cash or a check just because, again, I didn't want to track it. I didn't want to make our officials at the fields have to deal with that. And since everybody knows how to use a phone, all you got to do is pull your phone up and sign up right there. And so that's definitely made things a lot easier. But I think as a facility, you really have to keep in mind that although the customer may always be right, there's ways that you can educate the customer to make everyone's lives easier and to make the process better and to make that so they know that that's how the process is supposed to work. So they continue to do it and they do it next time as well. So any cool stories or connections that you guys have had through like our pickup? I know we all have done golf and we've all used to do soccer. Any cool stories or people you've met that through pickup?
Got anything? I'm trying to think.
I mean, at our golf, Ronnie is one of our golf guys. He actually is one of our champions that we take. We ask to run it if none of us can go play because we all love to play golf and why not go play and one of the perks of our jobs. But he's been playing with us for years. So if I say, hey, Ronnie, can you run it this week? He does the speeches, everything. Just playing with him, I figured out his parents down in Arkansas live probably 10 minutes from where I grew up. So we're both Arkansas guys. So just finding those small connections in a big city of Kansas City, you never know who knows who, and if you just start talking with people, and that's a social aspect of our pickup. So you start talking about, where do you live? Where did you grow up? What do you do? And you find a connection you never know you might not have had.
Yeah, and Rodney and I actually became friends through golf pickup. Never met him before, and started playing with him every week. And then we played crazy hands. Rodney and I became friends meeting through pickup, and we played together week after week and got to know each other. And then we actually played in a tournament together and won a tournament together. So I thought that was really cool. Rodney's a great dude, and it just came from showing up and playing golf one time and then getting to know each other. So I think that's just such a cool way to meet people. In my opinion, what we do is the best networking on the planet. It goes from, and another golf story is golf with a woman for probably 3 or 4 months before she really ever asked what we did. And then next thing you know, she needed a website that we helped with from our media agency. And so it turned into business, but it was because we got to know each other through playing a sport that we both liked, that she got to trust me and like me and know me, and then basically felt comfortable hiring us.
She lives in my apartment complex too.
There you go.
Realized that the other day.
Yeah. So cool. And yeah, I think there's tons of stories for me as far as I actually did see somebody get their finger dislocated at a basketball game, and then they still came back for the next couple of weeks, which was kind of crazy. But I think the best connections I've ever made have been through KC Crew, whether it's leagues or pickups or open play, because, networking events, everybody goes in thinking about networking and trying, what can I get from this person? What can I get from this person? Whereas sports, pickup, leagues or whatever, they go in thinking, I'm going to have some fun. Maybe I'll meet some cool people along the way, and then could turn out to be business as well. Cool. So I think there's so many different things that we call it. I know we call it open play, but I've heard open play, drop in, pick up. These are all the same. Yeah.
We call it pickup, not open play. Yeah.
Oh,
I'm team pickup.
All right.
Pickup.
Yeah.
Open play. I don't know. I like pickup because pickup sounds more structured. Open play, drop in kind of sounds like anybody can just come and show up anytime. In my mind, pickups, you show up when it starts, you kind of leave when it ends, whereas drop in, you can drop in anytime during that hour and play. It's like, I'm going to drop in and play for 20 minutes and then leave. So that's why I like that we call it pickup. I've never really voiced that before, but just sitting here, that was how I would go.
Foot in the sand, you're planting the flag, this is it.
Oh yeah, I'm saying pickup.
Yep. And we have pickup KC, so it's ingrained in my brain at this point.
Yeah.
Because we have basketball, golf, pickleball now, all falls under pickup KC. So, but even growing up in Omaha, just like Mitch said, open play, drop in. It feels like you can just come in, bounce out whenever. But pickup, you're here for pickup.
And I feel pickup has that networking aspect where you're going to pick up, we're going to pick the team. It's not your team coming to play. We're going to pick the team and you're going to be with different people. Like pick up basketball on the playground or play yard. You all got together and say, my team, your team, my team, your team. So you're picking that team versus open play. You could bring a whole team into play during open plays.
I like those analogies. That's cool. Because I've actually had several facilities who have talked about offering, like they call it open gym, right? And open gym to me is the drop in whenever you want, but they're trying to do it for pickleball. And so the idea was like, I'm going to have open gym from 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. at night. And so I'm thinking, well, if it's open gym, how does that work? If I show up at 10 o'clock and nobody's there, that's a horrible experience for me. And how do I know I'm going to get to play other people? I'm most likely not coming back. And so I think that opened up this facility's eyes. But then he was like, well, for basketball, it should work because they could just shoot around by themselves for open. And so I was like, that's actually a great scenario. I think that it could work for both, right? Like you could have open gym for basketball. That can be all day, just come in and shoot around. If anybody's there, you can get a game going. Whereas pickup, in my opinion, should be set times for, especially for pickleball, like it's either an hour or 2 hours. So everybody knows like I'm coming at this time and I'm staying. They could come an hour later, an hour early. But if nobody shows up at the same time, how are you going to get a game going and organized? So I think that was definitely something that kind of opened my eyes. And that conversation just happened this week where I was like, oh yeah, you could do open gym all day for basketball, but you couldn't really do it for pickup, or for pickleball or even volleyball.
So they're not the same.
They're not the same thing. There we go. Now I got it.
You can cross that.
Solved it. I'm now going to have to define them and like write it on our blog or our website. So what are some of the ways, we engage people that aren't having fun?
It's been that social aspect, that person that's running it.
Yeah, and I think again, I feel like everything goes back to the organization of it with because more often than not, if you're not having fun, it's because you're getting killed or you're killing someone in whatever sport you're playing. So if you're there, like if you go to an event and you're there to play a sport, your goal is to have a competitive match where you're playing against people who are the same skill level. Ideally, that's what we want out there. So with our structure, it filters that out into its own thing. So they might get killed the first game, like, oh man, this sucks. Then they go down to the next court. Cool, these are my guys, or my these are my players, and now I'm having fun again. So yeah, like Mitch said, it doesn't happen very often where people don't enjoy our leagues or our pickup, at least from my perspective. But I think it's because of the structure and naturally, filters all that, negative energy out of the pickup session. So,
and I think it also the fact that if meeting everybody by name and calling people by name, like, hey, Greg, come on, let's hustle on the court, or great shot, Greg. Using people's names, I don't know, just a psychology thing. It picks them up. It was like, oh, nice shot, dude. Like we're not friends at that point if we're not calling each other by names. But when you're calling each other by names and things like that, then everybody's friends out there and everybody knows each other. I think it's hard not to enjoy it when you have people out there.
Sure.
Who know you.
So what do we currently run pickup in? What sports or activities are we running pickup?
Yep. So we do Friday basketball at 6:30 to 7:30 for an hour at Hy-Vee Arena. Pickup golf, like you touched on, we do it Wednesday morning at 8 a.m. at Heart of America. And then
we do pickup pickleball 7 a.m. to 8:30 at Serve down in Overland Park, and looking at adding some more pickleball here and there. So be on the lookout if you're in the Kansas City area and love pickleball. So far, we've only done it for 3 weeks. We had 4 people show up the first week and one person return each week. Luckily, everybody in our office loves to play. So Matt, Ryan, and myself all play. So we don't just need one person to be able to run it. But it's that consistency of running it week after week. Even if you only have one person, 2 people show up, word will start spreading. It's been still relatively warm in Kansas City, so I think people are still playing outdoors. Once it becomes 20 degrees, 30 degrees, and people are looking for a place to play, they're going to show up. But the fact that we keep it consistent every week and showing up, people can rely on it. And I think that's one of the biggest things is getting off the ground. You might not make a lot of money at first, but you have to keep doing it. 2-3 months down the line, it's going to pay off, and people will talk with their friends and show up and things like that.
Yeah, and I think you're right. The consistency is really important, is knowing that's the point of pickup, is I can just come every week. It's going to be there and know that I can play. Maybe I can't make it this week because I'm traveling or whatever, but it'll be there next week. So knowing that, would we have preferred to start it in the winter rather than now? Or do you think now's a good time to start it to figure it out?
I mean, I like playing, so now for me, but no, probably better winter because it was indoors. We had an opportunity to get in right away and kind of just get that off the ground, so people are already talking about it for winter. We are posting on Facebook every week about it, ads on Instagram and Facebook, so hopefully people are seeing it week after week and they think about it when it becomes cold. Oh yeah, that's a place for me to go play. So constantly getting in front of people and making them aware of it.
any other sports that you think, would that we're considering trying for pickup, or that you think are a good idea for pickup?
I mean, soccer. Pickup soccer is already a big culture, kind of like basketball. We don't offer a lot of soccer or futsal, but maybe in the future, if we get court space, futsal. We've tried a little futsal pickup tournaments and things like that. I think anything you have people are interested in, especially if you're at a facility and you like playing it, why not find new friends by offering it and you get to play and run at the same time? So it's a benefit for you, for your facility, and for everybody in the community as well.
Yeah, and it's not another sport option, but just a way to grow it right off the bat, expedite it is, not everyone can do this, but if you have a certain group of individuals, a friend network or a company that's, looking for an activity to do, you have the space, you are their solution. So you just implant a group of, for example, there's a lot of cornhole groups in Kansas City. There's about 15 different factions. So we've tried a couple of cornhole leagues and kind of getting into the leagues talk, but tried leagues at some locations. It hasn't worked well because our cornhole leagues are leagues. The cornhole factions, that's their friend, that's their hangout group, that's their community. So, we tried one venue, it didn't work. Venue then saw this cornhole faction, said, hey, do you guys want to come in? They just implanted a whole group of people right into that spot. So same concept here. So if you know someone, a company, a group of friends, just a group of players that you've seen online that's looking for a place to play, hey, provide that spot up. And if you can start with 15 core players and then add from there as your pickup, you keep it public, that's a great way to kind of jumpstart your pickup sessions.
Let's say in here in Hy-Vee Arena, they have Gultimate, which is indoor ultimate frisbee. And it's like 4 teams of people that go play outdoors but need a place indoors during the winter. So they come play on a basketball court, and they're here like I think it's Tuesday or Thursday during the winter playing. So that's a group that Hy-Vee Arena can offer a court to. Now, like the Hy-Vee doesn't have to run it because it's their own group, but someone's running that for them and monitoring it. So you never know what kind of sports out there that people like enjoying, and there's groups of people.
Yeah, definitely if you find a group of people that are looking for a place to play, that's probably your biggest thing rather than starting it from scratch like we kind of do and advertise it that way to grow it. It's also that I think the biggest challenge is when to offer it, right? Like we already talked about some of the pricing, but I think that was the biggest challenge is it Tuesday morning, Wednesday morning, Thursday afternoon, Friday night? The problem is like knowing when to offer it. Well, if you're trying to offer it in the evenings every night of the week, well, that's when we could be running leagues, and that's when most facilities are full. So why would they even, try to do that, right? And so obviously if you're empty during the week or you have gaps during the week, definitely try your own leagues, try your own pickup. But I think if your nights and your night times are full, which is what our leagues are, then the other challenge is when do you start it? Like 6:30 a.m. basketball just came from another guy who had started a basketball group for construction, another Mitch, friend of ours. He started a pickup group for construction networking, and we slowly, partnered with him, and that's why we decided 6:30 a.m. Friday, because he was already doing it. But I think that's a big challenge, and not sure that we've definitely figured it out. Is it a 6 a.m., a 7 a.m.? But to get full circle is if you find a group, they're going to tell you when they want it. They're going to bring their friends in. They all know when they want to play. And so I definitely think that's a great way to get started. The other way is if you do start from scratch, there's a lot of pickleball groups, but Facebook groups is another positive way to do that. You can get in there and you'll see people asking for open play or coordinating open play. Get one of them to be your champion at your facility to help coordinate it for your facility, I think is a really big win there. Again, talking about getting other people to do your work for you, but at the end of the day, they, like you said, why not? You like this sport, you want to play, they're going to help you get more people to come in and play that sport because that's what they want to do. So I think that's really like a big win. Like you said, if you can find a group, do it. If not, definitely get in those groups and post in those groups.
Yep. On that too, you kind of touched on it briefly, but honing in on the construction aspect of it. So that was a whole industry. So if you have, someone who's part of an association with an industry, get in touch with that person. They're going to speak for everyone. They're going to be able to reach out within those contacts. So industry leagues or pickup sessions is, that's another opportunity where you don't have to, you don't have to hope to know someone there, have a friend who's a friend. It's, you have an association, you can do active outreach too. So just a whole nother platform opportunity.
But now our basketball is growing outside of just construction, and anybody can do what started with that, and they're open to other people coming in, and just growing to 40, 50 people every Friday morning now that will network. So
yep. So what do you think one of the ways offering pickup or open play benefits an organization or facility? Easy
barrier to entry. I think we touched on that at the beginning, where some people work jobs where they don't work a consistent 9 to 5, or they work nights or mornings, or they work every 3 days. So something for people to do that they can only sign up once or twice or every other week. It offers that for your community. So
And it's an easy way to provide a positive experience for people coming to your facility. So again, it all goes back to the organization of it. So if someone comes in, it's only an hour, they only paid $5. But if you do your job and provide a great pickup session, that goes so much further than, them spending $80 to be in a tournament or, spending $90 to be in a league. Like, it's a simple thing to offer, but its impact goes such a long way, because then they tell their friends to come out. They're returning, they're spending more time there. If you have food or drink, there's additional revenue on your guys' end.
We've talked pickup, we've talked open play, how those things are a little bit differently. We've talked leagues. I've recently heard, and I'm putting you guys on the spot here, I've heard of someone who's offering open play leagues, to where it's essentially every week at the same time, like open play, but they're staffing it, jerseys, they're running it like a league, and as far as staffing, scoring, and all that goes, but it's also drop every week as they pay, or they drop in. I've even heard that there's could be a membership where you're paying a membership to come X amount of times, but it's every week and then it's staffed on top of it. So our pickup, we didn't really dive into it. We talked to King of the Court, but nobody's staffing this. It's all self-staff. Basketball is all call your own fouls, that kind of thing. There's not individual refs. Whereas our basketball leagues, we have 2 refs and a scorekeeper. It's very official, jerseys, all that stuff. So what are your thoughts about like an open play league?
I think they work great for a facility that doesn't have to worry about renting a court. So for us, where we don't own our facility, we have to rent the court. We want to make sure we have people coming so we can pay those court rentals. But if you have a facility or you have courts open anyways, offer a league. I like the idea. People don't have to commit. They can come every other week. And maybe it's a 2-month league for open play, and you record how many times you win over the course of those 2 weeks. So yeah, team A or individual A, they come every other week. They record 1 win this week, 1 win this week, 1 win this week, and they can't come for 2 weeks. But you can record wins that way. In software and stuff like that. So I like the idea. It's kind of how we do our Blue Scope League. It's a private league where, it's individual teams and they come and play King of the Court style. So they come and play. If they win, they move up, and they lose, they move down. But for them, a lot of times they have meetings pop up or stuff like that because they're right down the road, so they can't show up. So people were scheduled to play somebody, and then there's no one for them to play. So the way we got around that was to offer almost a pickup style league where they came and popped in, played, for that week, but then next week they're out of town, so we don't have to worry about their schedule. So it helps with scheduling. You have to build a schedule. You match people up. So we kind of do that already, but it's for an organization that's paying for the courts already. So no matter what, the courts are going to get paid. So it's a private league.
That's cool. I didn't actually know we were doing that, so that's cool. But Blue Scope is a company. To your point, we started as like a private league where the company pays us. They have like 300 employees, and their employees could come and play like 3 or 4 o'clock on a Tuesday afternoon to just have fun. It's more like team building, right? And so to your point, right, they're already paying for it, so we don't care how many people show up. Or, they're already paying for the courts, they're already paying us. But that's really cool that you modified it to kind of be more of a King of the Court style open play. But I think that's a good point. Like, we don't have to worry about paying for those sort of things. I think the other thing, in my opinion, was the officials. Like, to your point, if I own the facility, I don't have to worry about the court costs. But if I'm going to have to staff it and nobody shows up for that pickup open play, I'd be concerned, like, now I have to pay for my officials and nobody's here to play.
I think that's all communication up front. You're like, hey, this is open play leagues, but they're social fun leagues. We're not going to have staff. So you advertising at the beginning. If people know they're paying for that, and they're probably going to pay a little less than a staff league, so you don't have to worry about staff costs. So I think it's just managing expectations.
Sure. I'm hoping to talk to this facility and learn more, but they staff it. Like, that's their pitch is come play every week with officials in a real game, but it's drop in and you don't have to commit long term.
So they're just planning on the long-term longevity of it.
I guess. Maybe they have enough demand that people wanted to do it right away. But similar, your concern was like, what if nobody shows up? Now we paid for the court. Our concern, right? We have to, Casey Crew would be to rent the court. But I guess that was my thought, is even if we don't have to rent the court, I'm Hy-Vee Arena or I'm a facility, I don't have a court cost. Well, if I'm reffing, I still have to staff it and I still have a cost there. So anyway, that was my concern was, like, how do you get around that? But if the demand's there and people are paying, especially if it's a membership and you're getting guaranteed revenue every month, you don't really care who shows up because you're hopefully covering your staff costs.
I'd have a lot of questions.
Yeah, I know. So do I. I know. I wanted to bring it up to see if you guys had any thoughts, but I'm hoping to talk to this facility and learn more.
I do think on that, like, if we tried to start that, our players' expectation is the organized, the staff, everything that we currently do for a league. So if we strip out, a couple of those things, then it's a question mark on if it would be successful for us. But different parts of the country. I know in Toronto they have clubs where it's all self-officiated. So every different part of the country is different. Facilities are going to know their people the best. We know our people the best, and might be tough for us to get it off the ground. But again, it's just a question mark for us. So
ideas turning for that open play leagues. If a facility like Hy-Vee Arena has 12 courts, they could easily do that because they could play 5 courts at 6:30, and then maybe another second open play at 7:30, so people can play back to back to back to back. Whereas our leagues, we rent 1 court for 4 hours, and if you have open play, you want people showing up at a specific time to play. So goes to logistics, scheduling side. How do people know when they're playing in those leagues and things like that? Unless you have so many courts, you can just, hey, everybody's playing at this hour. Then it makes sense.
Yeah,
so
that's a good point. One last thing, if I'm a new facility, I'm looking to start pickup or open play. What's the one thing I should know before I get started?
Make sure you have a game plan, and it doesn't take a lot of time to facilitate pickup, but it does take some time. It's not just, hey, let's just offer open play and hope it goes well. It's there is a little bit of marketing behind it. There is a little mix of making sure you have a structure for it, making sure you have communication to your players. So I think my general advice is always just do your homework. Make sure you know the crucial things that you need to do. So have your structure, have your staff, have your game plan, market it for at least a month before, kind of get the buzz going, and then take signups beforehand as well. So no cash, no check. It's all online. Handles your waivers, your payment, your info. Anything I missed?
I'll say it's not leave it and forget it. You have to actually actively manage it week to week.
Yep. Cool. Well, thanks again, guys. Really appreciate it. If you're looking for some help with your pickup, leagues, really anything, we do consulting. If you're looking for some software to help you manage your facility, pickup, events, open play, check out facilityally.com, and we'll see you next time on the Facility Playbook.